Hi, it's Leslie from lemongrovelane.com. Today I'm going to share a chicken soup recipe from scratch. First thing that I recommend doing is going and buying the whole chicken from your grocery store. I usually purchase organic free-range chicken, and then I take it straight to the butcher and I say, please, can you cut this up into 8 pieces and remove the skin? They are usually more than happy to do that, and then they'll repackage it for you, and then when you get home, all you have to do is wash these pieces and then stick them in your water. A couple things that you're going to need: parsley, a carrot, celery, garlic, onion, a good loaf of bread, and I can't live without my Cuisinart food processor. So this is going to make cutting up the onions and garlic a lot easier so I'm not tearing up. And then you just need a great big Dutch oven so that you can put all the ingredients in there. You're just going to let this simmer for a few hours and then you can enjoy it for dinner. So let's get started. I've got my chicken pieces in here. And actually, I'm just going to dump everything out and then put it back in. I use all the parts of the chicken, and including the back, and then I will remove the bones and the meat. And then when it cools, I will put the meat back into the soup at the end. Okay, so this is very unsanitary, so you'll want to make sure that you wash your hands really well after you do this, and also clean your sink out. So, this is really hot. Make sure you get in between your fingers about 20 seconds. And then you're going to want to also sanitize your sink after you've been handling chicken, poultry, or beef. So I've added my chicken pieces to my Dutch oven. I've filled the pot with enough water to cover the pieces. And I've added a huge heaping tablespoon of kosher salt. Now I know that sounds like a lot of salt, but if you're salting to taste, it's actually a lot less than if you're buying pre-prepared foods. So if you cook wholesome meals for your family, go ahead and just salt to taste, because it's going to be a lot less than what you're going to find in prepackaged foods. All right, so let's let this come to a boil. As soon as it does, I'm going to turn it down, let it simmer for a half hour, and you'll notice kind of some foamy stuff coming up around your meat. You can skim that off, toss it, and then in the meantime, you'll want to dice up your onions and your garlic and add that to the mix. Okay, chicken pieces are simmering on the stove in my Dutch oven, so I'm gonna go ahead and chop up my onions, celery, and garlic to put in there. As far as onions, if you aren't sensitive to them, you just cut them up, chop them however you want. I like to use a Cuisinart chopper because it's much faster and then it doesn't bother my eyes. So I'm going to use that for the onions. The celery I'm going to cut by hand, and the garlic too I'll probably put in my Cuisinart just because I have it out. But as far as how many onions, if you are using really big onions, then probably just 1 is enough. I use small onions, so I'm going to probably put 2 or 3 in my soup. Garlic is really great for your immune system. I like to put like 4 or 5 cloves of garlic in my soup. You can just adjust that to your liking. Maybe 3 would be helpful. And then don't forget a bay leaf. That's really good in there too. I like to use all of my celery, so I use even the tips, because I think that I remember my mom even telling me as a kid these are really full of nutrition and adds a lot of flavor. So just add everything. All right, so let's go ahead and chop the onions. Okay, I've just quartered my onions. They're going in the food processor, and I'm just going to dice them or chop them. Do it in small batches and then just dump this into your chicken dish. Okay, so that takes care of that. I'm going to go ahead and put this in with my chicken. Okay, so the soup is cooking. I'm going to remove the breast meat in probably about another 20 minutes. I'm just going to let the onions cook in there for a little bit. So the first thing I want to do is cut up the celery into tiny pieces. Carrots and celery are so full of nutrition, and if you cut the pieces small enough, then the kids won't even know that they're in there. So depending on if you're serving adults, watch that you don't cut your fingers. I always keep my fingers in whenever I do this so that I don't cut anything. And then my little garlic cloves. You And cut these little ends off. I removed the skin already. Rather than using your knife, I always use my pastry scraper because it's not good to drag your knife blade along your cutting board. So I'm just gonna put my garlic and celery in this bowl and just go ahead and cut my carrots. Cut the ends off. And I like to cut them on a diagonal like this. They just look prettier. And I hear Layla's little paws walking over here. She hears me cutting carrots. I swear she knows that she knows that I'm cutting carrots. You can do, I don't know, maybe 4 to 6 carrots in here, depending on the size. Okay, so that's all ready to go in. Those will go in a little while. I'm gonna go ahead and put these in my soup now. The smell is amazing. It's very nostalgic to me. I love the smell of chicken soup. So I've added a bay leaf and the celery, the garlic is in there. I'm just going to let this cook for another half hour or so. I've added a couple tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. This helps to pull some of the nutrients out of the bones of your chicken, so that's really important to do. And the chicken contains an amino acid called cysteine, and that actually has been known to help break up mucus. So I think that's one of the reasons why people say this is a good soup to have when you're feeling kind of under the weather or developing a cold, because it does help to kind of clear the sinuses. And then the immune system benefits that you get just from the bone broth are incredible. A lot of anti-inflammatory properties and that sort of thing. So very healthy dish to have, particularly in the wintertime when cold and flu season is upon us. I'm going to go ahead and remove just the pieces of breast meat. Heavy pieces here, just so they don't get overdone, because sometimes that breast meat can get kind of tough. And there's just 2 big hunks of breast meat that I'm going to take out. I'm going to leave the rest of the bones in there, and I will add the carrots. When the carrots are finished, I'm going to pull what's left of the chicken bones out of here, take any meat off I can find, and then I will add the meat back in, the chicken meat back in, and then the soup will be ready as soon as the carrots are done. I've already removed the chicken breast, so I'm just going to start with that. And you just literally pull the meat right off, and you'll want to make sure that is obviously in bite-sized pieces. But I do actually save the bones because I'm going to be making bone broth with this. So I just set the bones aside for now and just very quickly pull this off. And I love this because then your hands don't get dirty, and then also you don't have to worry about the heat as much. Make sure you don't get any bones in your chicken soup, because that can not be good if someone accidentally swallows one of those. And having the butcher remove the skin first really is a nice shortcut for all you busy moms. Okay, so I think I have everything out of my pot. So then I'm just going to put the meat back in, and it's really ready to serve. You just want to reheat it. There's a bone in there. Okay, let's break these up into pieces that are edible. And you'll notice the breast meat is a lot tougher, so you really do want to try to take that out early when it's done, not let it sit too long in there. Okay, so there you have it. So that's basically all there is to it. Give it a good stir. You can see the carrots and the bay leaf in there. And then as far as the bones go, I'm just going to put them all in here, and then they will go in the refrigerator, and they'll be ready for me when I want to make bone broth. Just going to reheat everything. Ready to serve in just a moment. Look at how yummy this looks. There's the bay leaf. You can see the onions, carrots, and celery, all of those immune boosting foods, and the broth is full of nutrition. You have all these big pieces of chicken in here. We need our proteins. Okay, your chicken soup is finished. I hope you love this recipe as much as we do. If you make it, tag me. I want to see your photos. And if you have any questions, just leave them in the comment section below. I will answer them. And I will also post a link to the blog post with the full recipe if you need that. And if you like this video, I do try to post a video almost every week sharing easy home decor ideas and healthy, wholesome meals for you and your family. So make sure you hit subscribe. Thank you so much for visiting Lemon Grove Lane.